Philadelphia Phillies baseball on Comcast Sportsnet, part of the NBC Sports Group.
Around a third of the way through the month of spring rehearsals, and some individuals are starting to gather a little extra attention. Charlie and Ruben have made it very clear that they want to see competition for spots on the 2012 roster. Decisions are to be made before April 5th rolls around, and it is never too early to garner some attention for yourself. 2 weeks since games began down here at Bright House Field, and the fans who are coming down from Philadelphia get a chance today to see the Minnesota Twins for the first time, and they'll also get a chance to see some of the guys who are starting to turn some heads here at spring training. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. Doc Halladay will go this afternoon for the Phillies. We'll talk about him. He's already established. But let's talk about some of the guys who are trying to establish themselves.
Well, like you say, Tom, it's spring training 2 weeks into it as far as the games go. And you know the veteran players, you don't worry whether they hit or they do hit. You know what they can do. But there are certain guys that sometimes will jump out at you a little bit. And I picked 3 of them today that have been really being impressive. Jake Diekman, you heard a lot about him. Really hadn't seen him. Drops down a little bit. Has a good fastball, working on that breaking ball right there. If he can ever perfect that, look out. Freddie Galvis, you hear so much about him that he really knows how to play the game. He's a switch-hitting infielder, made a great play defensively. They've been playing him at second base, at third base. He's back at second. And a veteran like Scott Posednik, who still has tremendous tools. He can play the outfield, he can swing the bat, and the guy can still run. So those are 3 guys that, for me at least, have kind of jumped out at you during spring training as guys that maybe they make the club, maybe they're insurance for later on during the season. You see what they've done so far, and all 3 of them have done nothing but impressive people down here so far.
Yeah, and Galvis, the thing about him is that he's still young, just 22 years old, and he's going from shortstop to second base and even taking some ground balls over at third base. All right, one guy who has established himself as really the best pitcher in the National League and arguably the best in Major League Baseball is Roy Halladay.
Well, you're established when one name gets you. We had a guy named Lefty around here for a long time. Everybody knew it was Steve Carlton. Well, now we have a guy here. They just call him Doc, and everybody in baseball knows you're talking about Roy Halladay. That's all he's done in the 2 seasons that he's been here. He's been so consistent, just a tremendous pitcher. He's a guy that, well, he wanted to get out of Toronto because he wanted to go to some place where he had a chance to win, and we asked him what it's been like your 2 years here in Philadelphia.
It's been a bit surreal. You come in every day and you don't want to take the uniform off. I mean, really, that's ultimately how it's felt. And there's not a lot of places that you can go to work every day and especially teams, and play every day and walk away knowing that you're in the best place you can possibly be in. Not only from a teammate standpoint, but city, ballpark, I mean, everything. There's no way you can play in Philadelphia and say, boy, I'd rather play here. There's just no way you can do that as a player.
Well, you listen to that sound bite, and all you can think is, boy, there's a guy who really loves where he's playing right now.
Could be the quote of the year already. Roy Halladay will go this afternoon. He'll be opposed by Twins right-hander Jason Marquis. That's right, it's Marquis over from the National League pitching for the Minnesota Twins. Obviously, the excitement surrounding spring training is still there for all, young, old. Lineups and first pitch when we get back. Set to take on the Minnesota Twins. And Roy Halladay's on the mound for the Phillies. And this deep into spring training, the starting pitcher will go rather deep in the game. Folks are settling into their spots on the berm. In fact, they usually get out there pretty early, lay their towels down, lay their blankets down, and get a chance to watch some batting practice. Let's take a look at the starting lineup first for the Minnesota Twins. Brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Denard Span leads it off in center field. Nishioka, the shortstop, is batting second. Josh Willingham, a big free agent pickup for the Twins. He's in right field today. He'll bat third. Justin Morneau, boy, he's a huge key for this team. He'll bat cleanup. Former first-round pick Chris Parmelee is the first baseman batting fifth. Ryan Dolan hits sixth. And the bottom third of Burrows, Revere, and Casilla. And they will face Phillies right-hander Roy Halladay. And Roy has had himself very comfortable spring training. Every time he's finished throwing, he says, I'm working on this, I'm working on that. And today, Wheels, he should work into the fifth inning.
Well, he's Roy Halladay, Tom, and you just expect good things from him all the time. Even when he's pitching in a spring training game, you know, he may be working on things, but he's out there grinding, trying to get hitters out. And just so much fun to watch. You know, you throw away the stats on guys like this. He's given up a couple of wind-blown home runs this spring. He gave them up in Detroit the other day. And, you know, he has, well, he's on schedule. And this is our scouting report on him. The one in the middle is the thing. Even in spring training, watch him out there today. He will be intense. He is a really good home plate umpire today. And in Tom Hallion, and who was a strike caller.
Now he'll face Denard Span to lead things off. Span playing center field this afternoon. Interesting, they have Revere in left, Span in center field for Minnesota. Minnesota Twins trying to rebound from a down year a season ago, and the first pitch of the day is in there for strikes so underway, and it's 0-1.
First down year they've had in a long time, even though every year you go into it thinking there's no way they can keep it up. And last year a lot of things caught up to them.
Big thing, the injuries caught up to him last season. Span on the hands, loops that one into right, and he's aboard with a leadoff single.
Many times does the leadoff man seem to get on against Roy Halladay, and that way where they just get jammed and thumb one out somewhere.
Tom Hallion's behind the plate this afternoon for this ball game. And then the rest of the umpires, Eric Cooper's at first right now, Phil Cuzzi's at second, and Dan Iasonia is over at third. Tsuyoshi Nishioka is the starting shortstop this afternoon for the Twins. He signed a free agent contract prior to last year. Came over from Japan, where he played for the Chiba Latte Marines. And he broke his left fibula last year when Nick Swisher slid into him at second base. So he missed a lot of time. Runner goes, pitch is taken outside, throw by Ruiz in time, right on the money.
Boy, he's in mid-season form. Chooch hasn't played a whole lot of games because they don't want to wear him out in spring training, but with Roy Halladay on the mound today, Charlie puts him in the lineup. Look how quick his feet are. Boom. Half a step basically. Throws, the ball's on its way down as it gets to second base. Jimmy does a nice job straddling the bag, waiting for the runner to come to him. That was absolutely picture perfect from everybody.
Well, now 2 balls and 1 strike to Nishioka.
That's what you don't want to see happen. Right, that got him in the mask, which, you know, it's easy for us to say is okay, but that's what you always worry about in spring training with your catchers, because hitters are late. They foul a lot of balls off, especially against a guy like Halladay, and you can catch a bad foul tip.
Inside, 3-1. Phillies have used an assortment of catchers so far this spring, whether it be Ruiz in a limited amount of time, Brian Schneider, but Charlie Manuel's also got a chance to see Tuffy Goswitch and Eric Kratz as starters this spring. In fact, Goswitch has caught one of the 2 outings from Roy Halladay. Ruiz has caught now the other 2, one in Detroit and one here this afternoon.
I think those are the only 2 games Carlos has started.
He started one other
one.
Yeah, in Dunedin. Sharply to shortstop. Rollins quickly gets into first, 2 outs.
I missed that one.
Yeah, he started Cliff Lee's first start of the spring.
Okay, so 3 times, and you know, that's the whole idea, is they don't want him back there a whole lot.
Said his legs were sore after it was over.
Sure. Fans are happy though. Fans that are come down from Philadelphia say they got a chance to see Carlos Ruiz start a game.
Well, now with 2 outs, here's Josh Willingham. Willingham signed a 3-year, $21 million contract during the offseason. This guy has turned himself into a pretty good pro.
He's kind of replacing Kadire in a way, who was a big-time free agent this year. Phillies even looked at Michael Kadire, but then he wound up, where did he go, to Oakland? Colorado. He went up signing with another team because they would give him more money and more years. And, you know, the Phillies were really interested in Kadire, and then, you know, they kind of got out of it. But Willingham, as you said, Tom, you know, we saw him start his career with Florida, and he used to kill the Phillies.
Yeah, former catcher who's turned himself into being an outfielder.
His nickname was a Hammer, and he could hammer some balls, especially in Philadelphia. He had a bunch of home runs in that, and at Citizens Bank Park.
Well, last year he had a career-high 29 home runs, and Ron Gardenhire is hoping that he, along with Jamie Carroll and guys like that, will help out, and that certainly is going to help what Ron Gardenhire is looking for. That's a bullet home run for Josh Willingham.
Well, that looked familiar.
And the Twins take a 1-0 lead here in the top of the first.
May have been a changeup. Looked like something came down and in a little bit. Got too much of the plate. Threw a home run on a changeup the other day. Let's see if we can tell what it is. Can't tell from that angle. But boy, he sure did hook it, and he kept it fair.
So 1-0 Minnesota. Here's Justin Morneau. 3 for 17 this spring. Says he feels as good this year as he's felt in a long time.
Well, Morneau and Mauer are the keys to their club. And as you mentioned, Tom, they had so many injuries last year. This guy has had a lot of concussion problems.
And that's been a big deal. That's cost him a lot of time. He had 1 year, though, he had 130 runs batted in.
Oh, he's a star player. He get beaned. He's just had these physical problems that have set him back.
And they appeal the check, and it's 1-2. See, last season 4 home runs and a .227 average. 2010 great average at .345. 1-2 the count. Swing and a miss. He got him. So the Twins do get a run on the home run by Josh Willingham. Roy Halladay, though, with a curveball against Justin Morneau. And we go to the bottom of the first here at Bright House. Dugout, 9 guys were either reassigned or optioned out earlier today. There's Rich Doobie talking to Doc Halladay after he gave up the home run at the top of the first. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Leading it off at shortstop, Jimmy Rollins, then Placido Polanco and Shane Victorino. Hunter Pence is in the cleanup spot. He's in right field. Ty Wigginton is at first base. He'll bat 5th. John Mayberry Jr. hits 6th, followed by Dominic Brown, Carlos Ruiz, and Freddie Galvis. And they will face veteran right-hander Jason Marquis, now 33 years old, and he has spent a good portion of his career in the National League and now gets a chance to play a little in the American League.
Yeah, a lot of his time in the National League East, too, when you consider his time with Atlanta and Washington, also with the St. Louis Cardinals, with Colorado. He's been a National League guy. And Dave Duncan, a number of years ago, changed him into a sinker baller. As you see that scouting report, he's a ground ball pitcher. When he first came up, he was more of a four-seam, high fastball guy.
Jimmy Rollins leads it off. Rollins 5 for 20 this spring, and he bunts it toward the right side. Marquis off the mound. Throws him out. Jimmy continues to try to use the bunt as a weapon.
Yeah, and you know, he does a few more of them like that and gets it a little further away from the pitcher, more in between pitcher and the first baseman, or even a little harder past him. It's a good effort right there. You know, he just happened to get it. Marquis is a tremendous athlete. There are some pitchers who would struggle with that play. So you keep doing it and, you know, make them throw you out. Marquis, he's a, you know, the guy can really hit too, as well as field his position.
Well, there was a great sight earlier today. You know, we've talked about the guys working on their bunting on the half field, which is adjacent to Bright House Field. Well, I looked out today, and there was Jimmy Rollins feeding the machine and Juan Pierre laying down bunts, and then they traded spots after that, as Placido Polanco lines one softly to short. Yeah, there are 2 outs.
You can learn how to bunt from a guy like Juan Pierre.
Juan was detonating one after another up the third base line. Boom, boom, boom.
How he can do that. Used to be a guy in the league, you'll know who I'm talking about, Brett Butler.
Oh, yeah.
And he could do that as well as anybody. And then Pierre came along and was just about as good.
See Juan probably later on today in this ball game. Shane Victorino is the batter, and he'll take low. It's 1-0. Victorino this spring 5 for 22, 227 average. 4 runs batted in, 3 runs scored. Back toward the middle, off the glove Marquis into center field. Victorino's aboard with the first hit of the day for the Phillies. And that's his 6th hit overall this spring. And that'll bring Hunter Pence to the plate. Mentioned before that the Phillies dugout isn't as crowded today. The Phillies either optioned out or reassigned, depending on if guys are on the 40-man roster, 9 different players earlier today. Reassigned to the minor league camp, the guys on the left, and optioned to minor league camp are the guys on the right. They're the guys that are on the 40-man roster. Harold Garcia, who had a microfractured knee surgery last week, is basically out for the year. But the youngsters, Cesar Hernandez, Tyson Gillies, Sebastian Valle, and J.C. Ramirez, all optioned down to the minor league camps.
They want to get them over there and play.
Sure.
In no sense of just being around here, you know, playing, getting a few at bats late in the game.
Hunter Pence is 7 for 24 this spring. Pence has a couple home runs, 5 runs scored. He has 2 doubles in his last 2 games. And he hits that one to right field, slicing toward Willingham, and the Phillies are retired here in the first. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. Ryan Howard returned to Bright House Field earlier today. We'll hear from him when we come back. The next step in Ryan Howard's rehab began earlier today when he threw with that boot on, trying to come back from the Achilles issue, and we caught up with Ryan like everybody else before today's ball game.
All depends on how the skin heals, and then as far as the progression of being able to try to pick back up where I was, and I'm gonna try and stay optimistic and see what happens. But I mean, like I've said before, there's really no time limit on it. Once it's 100%, pretty much, and we'll go from there. From where I had to start before, I had a bum Achilles, so my Achilles was we had to strengthen that up. But my Achilles each day, even though I'm not doing some of the stuff that I was doing before, it's still getting stronger just through rest.
Well, Ryan Howard is hoping to be back in the very near future, but as he said, there's no timetable on it. Chris Parmelee leads off the top of the second for the Twins. I think it was just good to see him back out there just getting himself some throws.
Yeah, he's happy to be back too, because he was making pretty good progress. But I think the number one thing that he mentioned there is that no matter what has gone on with that infection that he had in the incision, the Achilles continues to heal, and that's what you have to have before he can come back and play baseball. That thing has to heal.
Absolutely. Yeah, he had been to the ballpark a couple of different times just to get checked out. But as he said earlier today, he's just, he's going to be as patient as possible, and he's not going to put any timetable on it. Here's Ryan Doman over from the Pittsburgh Pirates, switch-hitting catcher.
This guy we saw a lot of over the years, because Phillies play the Pirates so much during spring training. And then, of course, during the season, you'd see him. The guy was never a great catcher, but always could swing the bat. He's a switch hitter. Has some power. DH, pretty good role for him.
He takes inside. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Phillies are going to Minnesota this year. See that new ballpark?
Ball is hit foul down the right field line. In the original schedule, the Phillies were not due to face the Minnesota Twins. But for a lot of guys, it's an opportunity to see it for the first time on June 12th, 13th, and 14th.
You got me that.
Swing and a miss, and Doman is rung up. Second strikeout.
Never a good thing when your partner looks at you and go, "We are."
I honestly forgot that we were going to Minnesota.
That reminded me. I thought I was working with Whitey again.
Hey, the Phillies home opener on April 9th may be sold out, but that doesn't mean you'll miss out on opening week. Tickets are available for games during the opening homestand, including great promotions and great rivals, including the new look Miami Marlins. See Phillies.com for ticket information and to purchase. I don't know why in my mind I thought Minnesota was coming to Philadelphia.
Well, you got me with that. I'll tell you what.
I'll be there.
I'm thinking, I'm sure we're going to Minnesota. Maybe we are.
Here's Sean Burroughs, who's 2 for 13 this spring. Burroughs last year played for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
They say the new ballpark's great. Really a beautiful place. And, we've been there before over the years, but always played in the Metrodome.
Yeah, I was there to do a football game, a Vikings game, about a year and a half ago. So I walked around, not that long because it was minus 17 outside. Ball's hit foul, and it's 1-2. But it does look gorgeous. One of the gates was left open, so I wandered around for just a little bit. It's in the warehouse section in Minnesota, several blocks down from the Metrodome.
Well, we are going to go there and look forward to the trip.
And it won't be minus 17.
No. That had to be 2 winters ago.
Yes, not this winter, last winter.
I think anybody got the minus 17 as mild as this winter was and remains.
2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Try to check his swing as Ruiz blocked it. No appeal, so it's 3-2.
Good running situation now for the Twins, especially against a guy like Roy Halladay. He throws a lot of ground balls and is around the plate. The only thing they worry about is a strikeout double play in this situation, but most teams are going to run here on a guy like Halladay.
There goes Parmelee, and the pitch is hit in the air to right field. It's hooking toward the line. Pence is over. Did he get it? And he made the catch in foul territory. By watching the flight of that ball, we can see it start to come down toward Hunter Pence, but there's not a whole lot of room out there.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about the wind yet today. It has died down appreciably from the games of last week and even over the weekend. There still is some wind. It's kind of blowing towards left field, See right there, the flags are not standing straight out, so that ball got knocked down a little bit in the right field corner.
Well, 2 outs, and here's Ben Revere. Ben Revere is going to be the starting left fielder. He filled in a lot last year in center field, and he probably made the catch of the year out in center field. An over-the-shoulder grab where he kind of climbed the wall. And there's a lot of real estate out there at Target Field. And it's 2 balls and no strikes to him.
Very different ballpark than what they were used to playing in that Metrodome.
Twins outfield will be Revere in left, Span in center, and Josh Willingham in right. At least that's what the thought is. And there's a strike, and it's 3-1. Revere last year hit .267 with no home runs and 30 runs batted in. He played in 117 games for the Twins.
Right, games without a homer.
It's that one sharply on one hop. Freddie Galvis over at second, throws him out. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. It's a gorgeous day here in Clearwater. It doesn't matter if you're here at the ballpark or somewhere around the area as we go to the bottom of the One 1-0 Twins. We go to the bottom of the second. Ty Wigginton leads it off against Jason Marquis, and Wigginton swings at the first pitch. No balls and 1 strike. Wigginton is 3 for 16 this spring. He's played now in 9 games. Today's his 9th. Last year at .242, 15 home runs, 47 runs batted in. Playing first base today. Jim Thome played first base yesterday in a minor league game. Played 4 innings, had some action over there. I love talking to Jim about it. You know, folks have said, is it like riding a bike? He said, no, it's not like riding a bike.
He's saying a lot of no-nos about that.
Said he enjoyed it, though.
Well, the only thing is, can his back hold up?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he's probably going to wind up playing tomorrow, again in a minor league game.
Good thing is you don't have to worry about turf anymore. You know, that was always tough on a guy, especially an older player, to have to play on that real hard AstroTurf. But now with grass and dirt, it's a little different.
Jimmy met with the Minnesota media today and talked about all the great things that that went on when he was in Minnesota for those 2 years. Little cue shot up the first base line, and then Parmalee will take it to the bag. Jim Thome was on the backfields here at the Carpenter Complex playing first base. And there he is. So everything was different. You know, everything was what he had to get used to, like that. You know, going over to cover first base or taking a ground ball. You know, different things like that. You know, at one point he had one of those spinning top, you know, one of those toppers. And he said the ball was just spinning every which way as it was coming toward him.
Catching one in the middle.
See his numbers during his career, over 1,100 games over at first base, but it's been a few years since he was there.
Yeah, and he started his major league career as a third baseman with the Indians.
John Mayberry is the hitter. Mayberry, 5 for 26 so far this spring. A 192 average. Still looking for his first spring training home run. And the 1-0 pitch to him. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes.
He looks healthy. He hurt his arm a few years ago with Washington and lost most of that season, but his ball's running and sinking pretty well, and you know, that'll be the indication of whether or not he'll help them or not.
Well, he's scheduled to be, at least right now, the 5th starter for the Twins.
He'll probably miss being in the National League because he can hit. He's a weapon. He's one of those guys that, you know, you can play 9 against 8 in the National League when he was pitching.
He's never pitched in the American League. Last year he split time with Washington and Arizona. And there's ball 4. So Mayberry's aboard. A 1-out walk. Comcast Sportsnet knows you just want to be a fan. Show it by visiting the CSN shop and picking up all your official sports gear. And get this, all orders over $75 ship for free. Visit shop.csnphilly.com now. 1 away. Here's Dominic Brown. Dominic Brown hit a long home run yesterday in Kissimmee. He had some adventures in the field. And he cracks that one to the right side, off the glove of Casilla into right field. Mayberry glides to third, and the Phillies have first and third with 1 man down. That's the 6th hit of the spring for Dominic Brown. He's hitting over 300.
Hitting over 300. His outs are hard too. He's really swinging the bat great. He's struggling in the outfield. This ball is smoked right on the nose. And Casilla makes a nice play, and then really good base running by Mayberry. Watch, he sees it go off the glove, and he watched it the whole time and then picks up Juan Samuel. But basically, he was just going to take one more look to see if he thinks happened what he thought was going to happen, and that was a trickle away a little bit so he could get to third. So that's good base running on his part.
Here's Carlos Ruiz, who's 4 for 8 this spring.
You go coasting into second on that play and don't go in aggressively, and then all of a sudden you're going to look up and your third base coach, he's going to want you to come over, but you didn't give him enough of a turn at second, and the right fielder's on it. He's got to stay there. So in Mayberry's case right there, that's instinct. You really, it's hard to teach what he just did.
Ruiz rolls it toward third. Off the glove of Burrows, down the left field line. A run will score. Brown going to third. The throw not in time. An RBI single for Ruiz, his 5th hit of the spring, and it's a 1-1 game.
More good base running too. That's it. You're on your own on that play basically, unless Juan Samuel jumps up and puts his hands in the air and stops you. So good base running in this inning. This ball, another ball, is a sinker hit right on the nose. Now Marquis starting to get hit a little bit as his ball is up in this inning.
So Carlos aboard. Dominic Brown over third. Here's Freddie Galvis, the second baseman this afternoon. We talked about in the open, Galvis is enjoying a fine spring. Offensively, yes. Defensively, yes. And 364. He has 8 hits and 22 at-bats.
2 sac flies yesterday, so he's in a situation now where a fly ball get him another run.
Chopper towards second. This might be a tough one to turn to. Ruiz gets to the bag. A run scores. It'll be an RBI for Galvis, his 7th of the spring, and it's a 2-1 Phillies lead. Well, they got the run home.
Yeah, it was not a double play ball, as you said, Tom, when it took that big hop like that. Good runner going into second, or Ruiz going in hard to second, and then Dominic Brown scoring the run after good base running on his part to go first to third. 2 of them in that inning, first and third, did a good job.
Well, the last time we left you, Charlie Emanuel was not pleased with the situational baseball the Phillies had been playing. So this is kind of a bright spot for him here today. Here's Rollins, trying to bunt his way on the first time up. He's 0 for 1. And he takes low and in, 1 ball and no strikes. Fly ball right field. Willingham goes back a few steps. And this should end the inning. It does. The Phillies, though, scored 2 runs thanks to 2 base hits and some great base running. We go to the third. Phillies up 2-1. Up 2-1 as we go to the top of the third. Some great base running, some great situational hitting. Freddie Galvis picked up another RBI, and Greg Murphy, Freddie Galvis is starting to open up some eyes with what he's done here so far this spring.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Tom. He is an interesting story. Everybody you talk to up here will tell you that he has a major league glove, no doubt about it. Obviously, he is a shortstop by trade, but we're getting a chance to see him at second base. He's been taking some ground balls at third base, and really everyone says he's ready to go in terms of fielding in the major leagues. Obviously, the big question is he ready to hit at the major leagues on a consistent level? As you guys pointed out, batting .364 so far this spring coming into today's game. But I guess, guys, the big question is, will we see him up here, or will they want to send him down to get consistent at-bats down in AAA?
Well, Alexi Casilla is the hitter, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And it's a good question, Murph, because, you know, he is opening up eyes. But I think Ruben Amaro even said it last week, that they're trying to move him around a little bit because Jimmy signed for at least 3, possibly 4 years, that they still see him as an everyday shortstop. So that would probably mean being down at Lehigh Valley playing shortstop every day.
You would think so, and but you know, the only thing Freddie Galvis can do, obviously, is make it very difficult for them to send him down, because that's what his job is, because obviously he'd like to stick with the big club. Placido
Polanco gave that a look. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. I guess the thing about it too is that it's enticing. It's good to see that he's playing as well as he's playing.
Well, you know, it's really one thing when you hear all the reports about him, say, well, he can do this, he can do that, he understands the game. He does. Now that we had a chance to watch him a little bit, you can see that when he stands up there and he's in a situation, he may not get it done, but he's trying to do it. He understands the game, Tom, and you know, that's the one thing we heard about him, that he can do those kind of things. And you know, Murph was just talking about, I think they want him to go play every day. You know, but it is enticing to watch him do this stuff. And they are playing him more and more at second base just to see if he can play over there.
Well, Michael Martinez got banged up a little bit yesterday. He says he should be okay. But, you know, that utility role, that middle infielder role, you need to play shortstop.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why Galvis is such a commodity. There's another base hit for the Twins as Casilla battled Halladay and gets the leadoff single. So first 3 innings this afternoon, the Twins have gotten the leadoff batter aboard. Back to the top of the order for Denard Span. This guy's a tough guy to double up. He was hampered last year but still hit .264 in the second year of a 5-year contract. And he tried to show bunt when he takes it outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. The outside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike the count. Mentioned last year that Revere played a lot of center field when Span was out, but this guy's a good player. So their outfield is going to have speed in center and left, and they'll have to make up for some ground for Willingham in right, who's turned himself into a pretty good outfield. So it's not a bad outfield for the Minnesota Twins.
No, this guy has tools, Span. He got some unwanted publicity a few springs ago in a game over in Tampa. He fouled a pitch off and hit his mother right over the he was right over the die. He didn't hit her hard, thank goodness, but the look in his face as he stood there and realized he had just fouled a ball off and hit his mom like that. He just fouled one off there on the left side,
but he did not hit his mom.
No,
the gentleman who made a nice play along the railing. How about that?
He is a graduate of Tampa Catholic High School. He's from the area, from the Tampa area.
Well, Doc is ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody out here in the top of the 3rd. Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's not real sharp today. Trying a lot of different things, you can see. It's still always competitive, even in a game like this, but it's a game where, you know, he's going to work on stuff.
Ground ball foul.
You know, if he's not happy the way his cutter is right now in spring training, he's going to work more on it. You know, that was a curveball there, and he probably got a little bit too much of the plate, but he got enough that it was in that he would pull it foul.
I guess that's the luxury that Rich Doobie has when you have a guy like Roy Halladay or Cliff Lee, where they can just work on things.
Take a seat and write stuff down, and then talk about it later.
Mentioned that Doc should go at least 5 innings today, and a lot of that depends on his pitch count. Yesterday, Cole Hamels pitched very well in an eventual loss the Phillies had against the Astros, but he came back and looked strong. Fly ball, shallow left, long run for Mayberry, not going to get there. Read well by Casilla. He knew it was going to drop, so he's at second base. So first and second with nobody out. Well, it was odd not to see the Twins battling for the American League Central title last year. You see, they had just 63 wins and the second most losses in Major League Baseball. It's their fewest wins since 1999. How about that run for Ron Gardenhire and Tom Kelly before him?
They were in the playoffs, what, 6 straight years?
Had finished 3rd or higher the last 10 seasons. Ron Gardenhire and then Rick Anderson, who's his pitching coach, next to him. Let's see if Nishioka will try to sacrifice with runners on first and second. He doesn't square, and he rolls it foul.
No, the Phillies are looking for it just in case. Did that go off his foot?
I think it might have. I didn't realize that.
Boy, that went a long way to go off his leg.
He fell to the ground almost immediately. Here we go. Oh, right off his knee.
Yeah, no wonder it went so far, right off the bone. Man. Another look at it. There's that cutter that Halladay features, and that thing was boring in on him, and he hit a line drive right off his knee.
Ever since Jermaine Dye hit that foul ball off his leg when he was with the Oakland A's and broke his leg, it's tough to discount any kind of contact like that.
Sure. Well, as you said, he broke his leg last year, so that's the last thing he wants to do is have an injury here in spring training.
He's scheduled to be the backup up the middle for the Twins. Jamie Carroll was signed to be the starting shortstop for Minnesota.
Normally you come right back in there again too after that happens, and they did, only that was a curveball. That was a heck of an at-bat Span had. Roy Halladay threw him a tremendous curveball, and he threw an emergency swing on it and just blooped it into left field for that hit. It was a strikeout pitch.
Halladay today with 2 strikeouts. He's allowed just the run in the first. The Twins have had base runners this afternoon. 0-2 the count. That one's just above our heads and out of play. It remains 0-2. Minnesota won the Central Division 0-2, 0-3, 0-4, 0-6, 0-9, and 2010.
A lot of time in postseason.
And this run really began back in '87 when they won the West at the time, and then won the World Series. 1-2 the count.
Well, their home ballpark at that time, the HHH Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, was a great advantage for them with the noise in there and that bouncy turf.
See, last year we're never really in the race. Division won by the Tigers. Another foul ball off the leg.
And that's what Halladay does. I mean, he just keeps throwing stuff in there. And it has all that late movement, so hitters will foul balls off their body.
Span at first, Casilla at second.
It's a cruel game. I mean, you think you just say, I'll pitch him away now. I'll let that happen. But even in spring training, he's staying after him.
That'll trickle foul.
His pitch count's going to be up before 5 innings at this rate.
He may not get 5. In fact, Rich Doobie's walking over toward the phone.
Yeah, right now he's already thinking, well, look at that. Because there's so many foul balls here today.
Nick Billmeyer is charging toward the phone to pick it up. Another foul ball, and it remains 1-2.
He hasn't had he's had a couple of strikeouts.
There was Mickey picking up the phone.
He knows he better get it right. He and Doobs are great friends, but
I don't think he's sure who's supposed to warm up.
Doobie will bust him as hard as anybody if he gets it wrong. Mick's got that bewildered look right now.
Yeah. Another foul ball off the first base line. That's 21 pitches this inning for Halladay. There's Mickey.
Mick said we sent him out this morning, didn't we? He's not here.
Looks like Joe Sabry's starting to warm up in the pen.
And they've got guys that, in mind that they want to use today. And then if you get into these kind of situations, they'll have another guy get up to try and finish the inning.
Well, Rich Doobie's now walking back to the phone, so maybe it's not supposed to be Sabry. There we go.
Hearing this phone ringing. Oh, this will be. Wouldn't you love to hear this?
That'd be good. There's a strikeout for Halladay. He won the battle with a breaking ball. 3rd strikeout of the day. There we go. Everything's clear.
Get something out of your ears, Doobie. That's Justin DeFreitas out there walking around.
He's been throwing, which is a good thing. Nick spent the first 10 days or so over by the dugout just watching the catchers. Here's Josh Willingham, who takes outside.
Well, it's spring training for him too, out there answering the phone.
That's so funny.
Oh, I can't wait to find out what happened.
Willingham hit a solo home run his first time up, his first homer of the spring. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And there's Joe Sabry firing away.
They have it all straightened out now.
Never a doubt, Wheels.
Cool.
Pitch surprised Josh Willingham right at the knees on the inner half.
That Milk's mom the other day was walking around downstairs. She came up and introduced herself, and she said, "Nick says you guys have a lot of fun." And I said, "Well, he makes it fun for us."
Doc this year will enter the season with 188 wins. Chance to pick up his 200th victory at some point this year. And the way he goes, who knows? He may win 300 before it's all over.
Yeah, they said that The odds of somebody winning 300 again aren't real good. In this case, could happen.
There's a roller to right field. Pence will come up firing. The throw to the plate is not in time. Casilla slides in safely, and the ball game's tied up at 2. Pretty good throw by Hunter Pence, but it's very difficult to double up a guy like Casilla.
Ball wasn't hit very hard either. It was kind of trickling out there. Hunter Pence, nothing looks right until he throws it, or until it's in the air, and then it has unbelievable velocity, and he's pretty accurate too. But that ball, that was more of a little nubber, a little dribbler going into the outfield. They were able to score that run.
Yeah, particularly with the first baseman holding the runner on.
Right, that's a catchable ball without the runner on.
Justin Morneau fouls the first one over toward Al, our camera guy. Just outside the first base dugout. It's no balls and 1 strike. There's a broken bat. Looper. Galvis has it. And there are 2 outs. So 2 away. And Chris Parmalee will be the batter. Justin Morneau shattered that baby.
Oh, did he get in on his hands?
Did.
Wow. Look how far that barrel went.
And pieces were scattered all around home plate.
Here's Roy Halladay with his bread and butter, the cutter. Gets in on Morneau, and end of that bat. And he's been giving up quite a few hits like that today. Now that ball had a chance, maybe just bloop into the outfield.
Parmalee his first time up single to right.
And they hit one ball really hard off him, and that was the ball Willingham hit.
Mentioned that the starters are stretching themselves out to go deeper into the game. The Phillies have a couple minor leaguers that they brought up for today's game, just in case they need an extra pitcher or 2.
One of them is Galen Cisco's nephew.
Right, Michael Cisco is here, and Tyler Cloud is up as well. 2 balls, no strikes to count to Chris Parmalee. That one has hit a ton. Deep to right field, forget about it. A 3-run bomb for the Twins' former first-round pick. And it's 5-2 Minnesota.
Yeah, that ball was crushed, and that thing was up in the strike zone.
Rich Dubie's trotting out to the mound. Second home run allowed by Doc in today's game. He only allowed 10 all last year.
See what it was. I can't tell whether that was a cutter that didn't cut or a changeup. It almost looked like a changeup because he got out in front of it a little bit.
That one hit the back fence up there.
Oh, that was smoked. Talking about they hadn't hit balls real hard off him, but that one was really laced. Kind of like the both home runs have been hit real hard.
So 2 2/3 right now for Doc, and 7 hits, 2 home runs, 5 runs allowed. And Ryan Doman, who struck out his first time up, is the hitter. Inside and low, 1-0. A remarkable stat, though, last year. 10 home runs allowed.
Yeah. That's why. And then when who was it? Berkman hit the 3-run home run in the first inning in the playoff game. We all looked at each other like, did he throw one of those all year? The answer was no. He hadn't thrown a 3-run home run.
He's thrown 35 pitches this inning, so this will be the 36th. And ball 4. So Doman's aboard. That's going to be it for Halladay. Rich Dubie's heading out to the mound. Joe Sabry is all ready to go. So Doc's afternoon is complete. Not exactly the way he had hoped it would go. He'll leave down 5-2. So the young left-hander will come in, try to get the final out here, and probably take the Phillies into the 4th inning as well. So the Twins on top 5-2 here in the top of the 3rd. We have a pitching change. A solo home run by Josh Willingham, a 3-run home run by Chris Parmalee, and the Phillies trail it by 3. Get suited up for spring training at the official online shop of the Phillies with the largest selection of authentic spring training gear, including clubhouse caps, t-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and more. Get set for spring at the official source, thephillies.com shop. 5-2 Minnesota on top. Roy Halladay's afternoon is done after 2 2/3. He allowed 7 hits and 5 runs, 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. He threw 70 pitches. So now Joe Savory will take over. Savory in his 3rd game this spring. Off a year in which he pitched at 4 different levels, including the big leagues. He'll face Sean Burrows, and he delivers the strike, and it's 0-1. Phillies have gotten really good starting pitching the last couple of days. How about the outing that Vance Worley put together the other day in Bradenton?
A lot of strikeouts.
He had 8 strikeouts.
You said Cole was really good yesterday. It'll be interesting with Roy Halladay's always so candid about everything he does. To hear what he said today, to me it looked like he was missing a lot. Got some balls in the middle of the plate and got hurt, and he gave up a lot of, some really cheap looking hits too. It was a combination of things.
0-2 the count.
I don't think he had great command, and he may talk about that. Wasn't getting ahead of hitters the way we're used to seeing them do.
And a called strike 3 right on the inside part of the plate. Nice job by Joe Savory to get the left-hander to finish up this 3rd inning. But 4 runs in the inning for the Twins, including this 3-run bomb from Chris Parmelee. 5-2 Minnesota as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank. We're for homes. Talk to us today about how we can help guide you to the loan that's right for you. And by Chevrolet. See your local Chevy dealer or visit ChevyDealer.com. Last of the 3rd, Phillies have some ground to make up. They trail at 5-2. Minnesota has 2 home runs today. A solo shot by Josh Willingham, a 3-run shot by Chris Parmelee. And Placido Polanco will lead it off. He lined out softly his first time up. And he takes a strike on the inside corner. Polanco has not started many games. They're trying to ease him back into action. He's 4 for 9 this spring. Hits that one toward the hole. Diving stop by Burrows. He boots it. And Polanco safe at first.
Burrows having a little bit of trouble down there. And Marquis, of course, needs everybody in his infield to catch the ball. Because that's what he is. He's going to throw ground balls, and when they're catchable, this kind of pitcher needs help. And a lot of third basemen are going to make that play. Then it just trickled too far. Well, I guess we'll give him a hit, huh?
I would think so. It is a hit.
Here it is again. See, it's not that far to his left, and then when he dives, not able to come up with it, and then it gets away from him.
So the Phillies have a base runner to lead off the bottom of the third. Victorino singled his first time up. And he bunts up the third base line. If it stays fair, there's no way they're going to get him, but it rolls foul.
Yeah, that's a good job by Shane. They try and bunt for a base hit with the heart of the order coming up. Just need to get it out on the grass a little bit, a little further on the dirt, and that one had a chance.
Well, no balls and one strike. We said the other day after our game that we had televised, Charlie Manuel was not happy that the Phillies did not perform well with runners in scoring position and just didn't do the little things. And they're trying to do that today.
Yeah, they are. And they've run the bases well today. And well,
I doubt they're going to be able to double up Victorino. They don't. 4-6 on the putout at second. Hey, a final reminder that the Wall of Fame voting will conclude today at 5 p.m. And there are the list of the participants who you can vote for. Larry Christensen is on that list. So is Kurt Schilling. Mike Lieberthal. Greg Gross, Phillies hitting coach, is there. Jim Fregosi, we've seen all spring long. Scouting for the Atlanta Braves. Again, voting ends at 5 p.m. today at Phillies.com. Here's Hunter Pence. And he takes low. 1 ball, no strikes.
we'll get a chance to vote on that later in the year too. Normally Larry Shank.
Yeah, they'll whittle it down a little bit.
They'll whittle it down a little bit, and we'll have a chance to vote on that.
Victorino leads off first.
How about all these potential Wall of Famers we were watching the last few years?
Well, they're starting to trickle in there too. I mean, you figure Schilling and Lieberthal, not that they were part of this group, but you know, we're getting closer to this group.
Yeah.
Number foul, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Penn's flying out to right his first time up. So he's 0 for 1. Now 7 for 25 this spring. Runner goes. That ball is hit well down the left field line, but it's going to hook foul.
Victorino left a little bit early and had second base stolen. Of course, Hunter has 2 strikes on him, so he's defensive then. Ball was just in on him a little bit. He's had 2 of them now this spring that he's hooked foul. Here's a look at it. Watch, his sinker comes running down and in a little bit, and he can't keep it fair. He can hit a ball further off one knee. I've never seen a guy hit it that far and finish that way.
Hands are so fast. Stays alive. It remains 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Just everything about Hunter Pence works, and you wouldn't teach any of it to kids, except the kind of person that he is.
And his aggressiveness.
Oh, he's very aggressive. You know, he never saw a pitch he won't swing at.
High chopper towards short. This might be 2. Can they turn it? No. Morneau just, excuse me, Parmalee just knocked it down anyway. So Pence is able to leg it out. 6-4 on the putout at second.
You see, this inning, he's getting more of a ground balls that he can get outs on his marquee. Last inning, he was up a little bit and they hit him. That's why whether he's going to live or die as a successful major league pitcher at this point in his career. Look at that big old step he takes, and then there goes the knee down. And he just smothered that thing and hit a big high chopper, and then he can still, well, I think he would have beaten that anyway. Still beat the play to first, even though he starts on one leg.
Well, just the speed, the sheer speed, the bat speed coming through the zone.
Yeah, he's not a disciplined hitter. He's not a situation hitter. He just swings.
Wigginton grounded out his first time up. Pence leads off first. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
This guy's due to pop one in spring training.
It sure is. 19 home runs last year.
He will throw slider like that once in a while, and a changeup, especially left-handed hitters, but he will live and die with his sinker. He's become that kind of pitcher.
Should serve him well, though, in that ballpark. It's a big ballpark.
Yeah, you can be served well with a sinker anywhere, and especially, as you say, Tom, in a big park like that.
Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Pass that down.
There you go.
Carl Pavano's the #1 in Minnesota. He led the American League in ground ball outs.
He's probably what he would be their #1 guy, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Line drive, base hit it to center field. Pence around second will hold up there. So the Phillies have runners on first and second for John Mayberry. So Wigginton picks up his 4th hit of the spring.
Yeah, Ty Wigginton will really help the Phillies this year. He's a very versatile player. He can swing the bat, and he has some power, and he is a hard-nosed gamer. The fans are going to like him.
John Mayberry walked his first time up. It's that hard, fair ball down the left field line. Pence will score. Wigginton might be able to score. Nope, the ball was picked up quickly by Ben Revere. So the Phillies get an RBI double from John Mayberry. It's a 5-3 ball game.
Yeah, if that ball had gone to the corner, he would have had a chance, but it hit down there before it had a chance to go all the way to the left field corner and kick back.
I think Revere read it well, too. He didn't go all the way to the corner.
Yeah, well, yeah, as a left fielder, you know, in a ballpark you're not used to, you really don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, he's kind of at the mercy of where that thing goes. If it goes to the corner, then he's going to have to chase it a long way. Maybe he can score another run. In that case, you can keep the guy at third.
So now second and third, 2-run ball game. Dominic Brown is the hitter. He singled his first time up. And he takes low, 1 ball and no strikes.
He's a different guy right now as far as swinging the bat. They got to get him going defensively a little bit. Swinging the bat is totally different than what we saw. This is what I guess everybody was talking about.
How the ball's jumping off the bat.
Yeah, how he can hit.
He just missed that one.
Yep.
Oh boy.
All speed.
The second baseman Casilla makes the call, and the side is retired. The Phillies do get 1 back of the RBI double from John Mayberry, so that's cause for some food. Enjoying the fair here at the ballpark. The New York Mets will be in Philadelphia Friday, April 13th. It's a 3-game series. It wraps up on Sunday the 15th. A tribute to Jackie Robinson, Expedex 2012 schedule magnet for all fans. Don't forget, Saturday the 14th is Turkey Hill Kids Opening Day. A free Charlie Manuel commemorative baseball for fans 14 and under. Order your tickets by going to Phillies.com. And while you're there, you can cast your vote for the Wall of Fame. 3 in the books. Pretty nice day here in Clearwater. Temperature has been around 80 degrees most of the day. Although it's been pretty comfortable back home. I went home for a day and it was pretty nice yesterday. The bunt attempt by the Twins to begin the inning, and Ben Revere is played nicely by Joe Savory. And one away here in the 4th.
A lot of speed on that. There's my point. And when you're bunting the ball, especially the first pitch, you got to go for the line. Therefore, if it's a foul ball, you get another chance, get the chance to hit again. Back to the pitcher. No matter how fast you are, you're not going to make it to first.
Well, we've seen already today from Philly's standpoint, Jimmy Rollins, Shane Victorino all try to bunt. And now Ben Revere tried to bunt against Joe Savory, who played his position well. Here's Alexi Casilla. Casilla singled and scored his first time up. Casilla was originally part of the LA Angels of Anaheim team, and the Twins received him in what deal, Sarge? Who did the Twins send to the Angels for Alexi Casilla?
Well, let's see here.
He played for the Phillies.
You're right. You're right.
He was a pitcher.
He was a pitcher, huh?
Yeah. 2-1 the count. That ball's hit in the air to left center field. Shane Victorino is over. And 2 away for Denard Span.
He's a fast runner, too.
He's a left-handed pitcher for the Phillies. He's a left-handed relief pitcher for the Phillies.
I should know this, huh?
Well, if I said the name J.C. Romero, would that surprise you?
No.
Okay.
Sure would. Oh, boy, I was wondering where J.C. went.
There's a strike to Span.
One thing, though, about this Minnesota club, you'll do things the right way or you won't be there. It's top to bottom from the rookie league on. They do things a little different than they do in most organizations. Want them to play a certain way. Being able to get guys over. They don't like seeing guys going for the fences. Torrey Hunter, who was drafted by the Twins, had a difficult time early on. Being sitting back down, not hitting the ball the other way.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And some guys can't do it. For instance, Big Poppy.
David Ortiz,
and
right?
You don't want to take away from his power, so therefore you want him, for me, to be able to swing away. Some of the smaller guys, you want them to be able to hit the ball the other way and get them in scoring position. And I think it has to do with just the makeup of that particular player.
Well, Span slices that one to left center. He has 3 hits this afternoon. Now, when they gave up on Big Poppy, a lot of people thought he was done.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of resurrected his career in Boston.
No, the point I'm making on that, though, is that if you're just one kind of a hitter and you're not able to hit the ball the other way, they don't want you with the Twins. You have to be a special player if you're a pull hitter only to be able to play with the Twins.
Savory throws over to first. Span is back. He stole 6 bases last year. How would you have done in that situation?
Well, easy, because I inside out of the ball, and I hit the ball the other way and got taught that early on. It's not hard to be able to hit that ball the other way. The natural thing to do, however, is to pull the ball when you're a hitter. Most hitters always have a tendency to pull the ball. Being able to take the ball the other way, that's what really gives you the consistency day in and day out.
Up high, 2 balls and no strikes.
And you can learn how to be able to do that just by concentrating, getting the ball down in the zone, as opposed to swinging at balls that might be up. Hard hit that ball to right field when the ball is up in the zone. But they practice that when they're rookies. So rookie league, Double-A, A-ball, and so on.
Well, somebody asked me during the offseason about Jim Thome fitting into the Twin style, and I said, well, he's a power hitter and he hits the ball, he pulls the ball, but he also can go the other way if he needs.
Oh, he can hit the ball a long way out the other way. He always has, and that's what made him such a devastating hitter over his career. A feared hitter. Another one of those guys that will walk 100 times because pitchers just don't want to pitch to them, especially early on.
There's a little liner into left field. Another base hit for the Twins. They've hit some balls hard this afternoon, but they've hit a lot like that one right there. And overall, that's 9 hits. So 5-3 the score. Runners on first and second. I think that's part of the system that the Twins have is why everybody was surprised last year when they struggled. But injuries can change even that philosophy.
Well, that's exactly what happened to them. A lot of injuries they end up getting, and then they go back into rebuilding. But they always seem to be pretty consistent. And again, they don't change their personnel a lot. You look at Ron, look how long he's been there, and again, players get used to that same staff year in and year out. They know what to expect.
Well, and Tom Kelly even before him. I mean, Ron was part of Tom Kelly's staff, so there was some continuity, even though, Tom gave way to Ron. The torch was passed pretty cleanly.
Well, it was, and again, though, Ron being there knew the style. It makes it easier. Again, the players aren't surprised that they got to do certain things, and after a while, guess what? They enjoy it doing it that way. Now, when you bring in players, you got to bring in players that complement your system that can do those same things. You don't go away from it.
1 ball, 1 strike the count to Josh Willingham. 2 for 2 today with 2 RBIs. Swing and a miss and a breaking ball. 1-2. Joe Sabry will be followed today by Jonathan Papelbon, who is firing in the bullpen for the Phillies. There he is.
Josh seeing that ball pretty good. Home run and also a base hit into right field.
And a breaking ball called strike 3. Nasty pitch from Joe Sabry, who did allow a couple base runners, but picked up his second strikeout of the afternoon. Here it is, Lord Charles, the breaking ball that freezes Josh Willingham. Jefferson University Hospital. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. Beautiful day here in Clearwater. Another capacity crowd here at Bright House Field. Phillies will be home today and tomorrow. And then to Bradenton on Friday before they return home for St. Paddy's Day here Saturday at Bright House Field. It's kind of interesting watching everybody's technique to find a spot on the berm before the ball game. It's like that all around baseball. Got here early, make sure your blankets are down and you can wander around because you've got your spot marks.
That's right. Some a little larger than others.
Carlos Ruiz will lead it off. Ruiz singled home run his first time up. And Ruiz again continues his hot hitting this spring. That's 6 hits in 10 at-bats.
Yeah, and he's hitting the ball hard. Kind of like the way that they're breaking him in early. You know he's going to catch a lot of games hitting against the front foot. But when he's spraying that ball around up the middle, hitting the ball to right field, we've seen him that he is solid and he can hit the ball out of the ballpark. I think it's smart of him not to catch him a lot because you know he's going to get the brunt of the catching during the season, and catchers have a tendency to get tired.
Albies takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. It's almost as if they do with catchers, at least from a Phillies standpoint, the same thing that they do with pitchers. They kind of ease them into their workload.
Well, and for good reason, too, though. As you know, the catchers take a beating, foul tips. Early on, you're catching. They don't catch those double headers anymore.
Off the end of the bat, Burrows into foul territory, has a play. Sunday, Kid Cole speaks. Leslie Goodell sits down with the Phillies' homegrown ace, lefty Cole Hamels, as he talks about his contract status and whether he feels he's gotten the respect he deserves from his accomplishments in Philadelphia. Don't miss Phillies Focus, presented by Schuylkill Valley Sports, Sunday night at 10:30, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Back to the top of the order, Jimmy Rollins, the hitter. Rollins 0 for 2. Flied out to right his last time up. Retired on an attempted bunt his first time up.
I think every now and then you want him to maybe bunt, but for the most part, Jimmy Rollins for me is an offensive type of player. I mean, just as easy to hit a double as it is to be able to bunt, especially if you're not an accomplished bunter. You know, he's taking it on and trying to do exactly what they want him to do. But swinging at a pitch like that and taking it out, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, how many times should he bunt, or when should he bunt?
Well, every now and then, maybe the beginning of a series, if he's going to run. And I'd really take my chances with that if the game is tied for him to hit the ball out, as opposed to it's a high pitch he's swinging at, as opposed to trying to bunt to get on. Now, if he's going to bunt, he has in his mind, okay, I'm going to go on and steal a couple of bases or get in the scoring position, okay. But not to just bunt, you know, for the sake of getting a hit.
Well, he's behind 1 ball and 2 strikes with Ruiz at first, 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. 2-2.
And Victorino, another one, the guys that have speed. You don't mind them going on and bunting, but keep in mind, though, for J-Ro, he's been more of an offensive doubles type of player, as opposed to a guy that will bunt and scratch to get on or just slap the ball.
Well, he's worked himself back into a favorable count, where he should get a pretty good pitch to hit.
See whether or not Carlos would be off and running. Obviously not a fast runner, but you would run here just to keep out of the double play.
I just peeked down at Juan Samuel and he kind of shook his head, or nodded his head yes. There he goes in the dirt, ball 4. Good at bat by Rollins.
Yep.
Marquis, as we mentioned before, the starters, he's at 50 pitches. So if he gets out of this inning cleanly, then he'll probably pitch the 5th inning. Jeff Manship is throwing in the bullpen for the Twins. Placido Polanco, the hitter, with runners on first and second. Inside, 1-0. Phillies are taking the same kind of tack with Placido Polanco that they're taking with the Phillies catchers, kind of easing him back into the lineup. I think Charlie Manuel's just happy to have him out there and getting a chance to get some ABs.
ABs, and he's not hurting anymore, and healthy.
He doesn't even like to talk about it anymore. You know, wants everybody to know that he's fine.
Well, they're going to need him offensively, and I mean, obviously, it's always important to get off to a good start, but not having some of your bigger guys in the lineup, that means some of the smaller guys are going to have to do a little bit more until they're able to come back.
Grounded toward third. Fair ball right over the bag down the left field line. Ruiz will score. Rollins to third. An RBI double for Placido Polanco. Second RBI of the spring. And the Phillies pull to within 1.
Boy, those are big at bats, and especially in a situation for Polanco. 2 runners on, and that's what you're looking for. That gap ball. Take a look at it. Brings those hands in. That's quick, boy. Being able to hit that ball down that right field line as it hugs. Hits that little railing. That's the second time that it's done that. Automatic double, however, once that happens.
So the Phils have 2 in scoring position, down by 1. And Shane Victorino, who's been on base twice today, is single, and he's reached on a fielder's choice. Twins thought about playing the infield, and now they'll settle it back a little bit.
Looking to stay in the middle of the field if he can and drive in that ball. Doesn't have to have a hit to drive in that run. If it's deep enough, he'll be able to get him in. I think that's smart too. You put those fielders back. They're playing in, and if that ball's not hit right at them, ball's going to be through, and then that's 2 runs. This way, if it's hit, you might have a chance to be able to knock it down, even if the ball isn't hit directly at you.
Marquis looks like he's starting to fatigue a little bit. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Phillies can tie it with a ground ball toward the middle.
You can almost see the outfield too, Tom, in unison as they get ready when the pitch is coming. You know, you like that when they're almost moving some way side to side. Easier to get a jump on the ball.
Shane sounded like he may have broken his bat on that line drive.
Yep. Marquis cuts the ball. But you like those outfielders to be ready. Anticipate that ball that's coming. Gets that foot down, hits it right off the end of the bat. Now there's the sound right there when you know that the ball isn't going very far as it gets into the stands. That ball into the bat as he breaks his bat.
So it's even, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Victorino. Swing and a miss. Well, he's down on strikes. He wanted contact there. So Marquis comes up with the big out.
Yeah, pretty big pitch there. I mean, right in the exact same place. He's thinking maybe fastball as he throws an off-speed pitch to strike him out. That's why when you get those early pitches and you can really get them out and stay in the middle of the field there, you really want to do it to pick up that RBI.
Well, they'll leave it for Hunter Pence, who's batting cleanup this afternoon. 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs. And Pence hacks the first pitch foul. It's 0-1.
stretched out in front of that a little bit. Hunter was talking about how good he feels with his at-bats. Says he almost feels game ready. But he plays with a lot of enthusiasm, so that wouldn't surprise you at all.
Over to third, and Burrows flips it across the diamond. The Phillies do get one, but they leave two in scoring position. We're through four here at Bright House Field, with the Phillies down by one. Now, the best way to lock in some of the hottest games this year is a 3-game pack. The new opening day pack, the new summer weekend 3-game pack. It includes prime summer Saturday games, plus the Red Sox 3-pack. Some restrictions apply to these special 3-game packs, and you can order now by going to Phillies.com. Kind of left field line in the picnic area here at Bright House Field. Prime autograph spot here at the ballpark.
What everybody has on their T-shirts or hat, very well represented in the stands with a lot of different Philly gear.
Some of those fans wearing the new Jonathan Papelbon T-shirt jersey or a regular game day jersey. Papelbon 3 games so far this spring, 2 strikeouts and a run. And he's on to face Justin Morneau, Chris Parmelee, and Ryan Domit. Coming up this weekend, we'll give you a chance to see some of the new items that are going to be available at the ballpark this year. Some of the promotional items as well.
Great.
Morneau today 0 for 2. He struck out. He's also popped out to second. And he takes a fastball for a strike. It's 0-1. No other changes defensively for the Phillies.
How about this shirt? I mean, will they be giving away these shirts that we have on, you think?
Well, they're not going to be giving them away.
Well, I mean, will they have them being sold? And so Wills has a different shirt that he's wearing.
Right, you can get the shirt that Wills is wearing today here at Bright House Field or online.
They must be running out of extra larges since I can't get another one of those.
We want to see your washing skills. You know, every year we all wear the same shirts, as everybody knows, and we're going to keep a tabulation this year of who doesn't wear the right shirt for the right game. And Wheels is in the hole.
Exactly. And if we're looking for a winner last year, it would be me.
It was not you. It was not you. Swing and a miss. Morneau is down on strikes.
But I'm glad we're keeping up with it this time. And
I thought you told me that you never lied to anybody.
Well, I do nothing. I do. And Morneau, look at the movement though on that pitch right there. by the shin guard as he throws that ball down in a way. Very difficult pitch to hit. These are the guys that I know that can hit that pitch there, Tom, or retired.
Here's Parmalee. He's 2 for 2. He had a 3-run home run back in the third. A single in the second. Papelbon's got some pretty good velocity today.
Well, when you're able to come right in on one's hands, you like the location, though. It pitches with no fear, and you have to be able to do that as a closer. All closers just about feel that same way. They're built a little bit different than most, and if they're not, they get that way once they've had a little bit of success.
Just missed outside. 2-1 the count.
Say one thing about him, he is pretty deliberate. Advantage to him when he hides the ball the way that he does. If this is some type of an off-speed pitch.
He went upstairs. That's 3-1.
No, they have to work on all their different pitches.
Some of the choppers coming in from MacDill Air Force Base. So the special ops here the other day, their parachute team. Ball 4, so it should be ball 4. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, spring training for the guys running the scoreboard too. Something to talk to Don about.
Don Guthian, who is the public address announcer here at the ballpark. Now it's ball 4. So a 1-out walk, and Parmalee is on for the 3rd time today. And then Ryan Domick.
Look at this pitch here. This is on a fastball, but you check out the location. That's a 3-run bomb right there as he kind of takes a look at it. Strong guy.
Former #1 pick, Parmalee, so he's on first. And here's Ryan Doman, who's 0 for 1. He walked his last time up, struck out his first time up. Fly ball down the left field line. John Mayberry glides over. Does he have room? He does. And he makes the catch. Nice throw in to make sure Parmalee stayed at first.
Well, John legitimately can play all those outfield positions and plays them pretty good, especially center field. You notice how he goes over. He gathers himself there as he just comes over. Under control is what you want to do. Pete McCannon, bench coach, talks about that. Players being under control when you're getting ready to catch the ball.
Sean Burroughs is 0 for 2. He's flying to right. He struck out looking. And he takes a little low. That's not a bad spot, though, with that first pitch. I mean, you can get a lot of guys who are sitting on that first pitch to go after it.
Well, that's one of the reasons they don't try and throw Hunter Pence that first pitch fastball, for that same reason. Sean Burroughs, a little different hitter than his dad, Jeff Burroughs, ex-teammate. Jeff took all the power.
I don't think everybody anticipated that, though, when he was selected in the first round. I think they thought he would have some power.
Well,
I think he's just fortunate he's back in the playing professional baseball. That foul ball got a piece of Tom Hallion.
And ball right in on his hands, and you can tell he kind of jarred his head there a little bit as that ball fouled right off of Tom there. One of the reasons they always teach not only umpires but also catchers, never turn your head when that ball is coming in, because you get that foul tip right off of your ear. You can see him squinching. That just doesn't feel good at all. You can imagine just somebody coming with a bat and just firing it right up on that face mask. It's going to jar your brain there a little bit.
1-2 pitch. Low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mentioned that Burroughs made it back last year to the major leagues. He was basically out of baseball for 6 years before he made it back with the Diamondbacks last season.
That's amazing.
Slices it foul, and it remains 2-2. He's a former #1 pick, Sean Burroughs. And you see the particulars. He's now 31 years old. 9th pick overall by the Padres. Made it to the big leagues in about 3 years, because he didn't play that first year. And then picked up as a free agent by the Twins back in January of this year.
You know, some players, when they play, they end up not getting any better. They stay exactly where they are. And Sean was one of those kind of players. Well, he was supposed to be one of those guys that was a can't miss, but not only that, somewhat of a star in the major leagues, and it just didn't happen for him. Got to be able to consistently hit that fastball.
Arnold will take off the 3-2. Crack toward the middle. Rollins can't get to it. And Parmalee will continue on to third. So a base hit for Burroughs. His 3rd hit of the spring. And the Twins have runners on first and third with 2 outs. Roy Halladay started today's ball game, went 2 2/3, allowed 5 runs. Joe Savory an inning and a third, did not allow a run. And now it's Jonathan Papelbon here in the 5th. And Ben Revere, who's 0 for 2. And he takes strike 1. Low, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
No, don't want to be falling behind on any of the hitters there. You become predictable.
Well, I think Rich Doobie's going to go see if Stutz was ready. There he goes down the stairs. He might be close to calling the pen just to see if make sure somebody's up and throwing. You don't want to get this pitch count too high for Papelbon.
They're not going to let any of their pitchers do that.
Fly ball, shallow left field. Easy play for John Mayberry, and Papelbon, although he gets into a little bit of trouble, gets out of it here in the 5th. No runs, 1 hit, 2 men left. 21 pitches later, we go to the bottom of the 5th here at Bright House Field. Hey, follow along as Cliff Lee and the Philadelphia Phillies get set to take on the Chicago Cubs on Friday, April 27th. It's a 4-game series. Sunday the 29th is the Fanatics' birthday. It's brought to you by Citizens Bank. And then Monday the 30th is a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night. Check out Phillies.com for all the information on what is going on for the Phillies and the Cubs and everything else in this upcoming year. 5-4 Twins on top. Tom Hallion, who got hit in the face mask, the umpire's mask with that foul ball in the top half of the 5th inning. He's having a caucus with the other umpires. His day may be done. I mean, his bell might have been rung to the point where he can't continue.
Well, some of those hits, really, they make you feel dizzy when it hits you that hard.
Yeah, they're going to change it.
No reason to actually take any chances at all, especially in spring training.
Sean Ficasny, who's one of the Phillies' athletic trainers, was out with the umpires. There it is right there. Sean Burrows, bam. So I think Dan Iasonia is going to go put the gear on.
You can see that almost took the face mask right off with that impact.
Tom has umpired a lot of the games here at Bright House Field this year. I think this is the first time he's been behind the plate for a ball game. So it looks like his day behind the plate is done. We'll have a change in home plate umpires. When we get back, we'll see if Dan Iasonia is all ready to go. Ron Gardenhire, the manager of the Twins, talking things over with Eric Cooper and also Phil Cuzzi. Tom Hallion, the home plate umpire, is going to exit this ball game, and Dan Iasonia is going to put the gear on to come over and take over behind the plate. So that's why there's a delay here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right, thank you very much, T-Mac. Here with Jonathan Papelbon. Another scoreless inning for you, 21 pitches today. We know the process that the starters are going through to kind of get ready for the season. What's it like for you as you come in, get your work in? What are you looking for?
Well, for me, I'm just trying to repeat my delivery. It's the biggest thing I'm trying to do is go out there, have consistency with my delivery.
Have you been pleased so far? Have you 4 outings now, an inning of work each time? Are you happy with where you're at right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Pretty excited. Talk a little bit about being a part of this Phillies team, because you come in here as a free agent, and I guess there's always a little bit of an adjustment period as you start with a new club. How's it been for you?
It's been good. You know, guys have been great here, and you know, we're trying to build that camaraderie. Got a little March Madness going on, so hopefully that will help.
Who you got winning it all?
It's going to cost you money if I give you that.
All right, I'll have to find out off camera. Jonathan, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Jonathan Papelbon, guys.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. We have a new pitcher for the Minnesota Twins and a new right fielder. Oswaldo Arcia is the new right fielder for the Twins. And the new pitcher is Jeff Manship, who will take over for Jason Marquis. Marquis went 4. He led 8 hits and 4 runs. Manship last year, 5 games at the big club, an 8.10 earned run average. And this will be his 4th ball game overall for Minnesota. So those are the only two changes for the Twins. And Jason Marquis was trying to get the fifth starter spot for Minnesota. Not too shabby in 4 innings of work. The Phillies did get 8 hits, and they wound up stranding 6 base runners with Marquis on the hill. Well, it's our first umpire change, Sarge, of the year.
Yeah. You know, too, though, Marquis is going to be kind of around the plate. So, you know, guys are probably going to feel a little bit more comfortable hitting against him. He doesn't throw as hard, working on his control in and out. So they're able to put together some hits. Thought they had some pretty good at-bats.
Well, what did you think about Papelbon today? I mean, as Murph said, it was his 4th outing.
Yeah.
He's just trying to get his work in, trying to repeat his delivery.
Yeah, he doesn't talk very much, does he?
Well, unless you want to ask him what his pick is, and then you have to give him a little cash.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it earlier about those closers. They are a little bit different, but you know, his velocity is right where he wants. I don't know if his breaking ball is right where he wants. He did fall behind on some hitters, but as long as they get him out, they feel they've done the job, and guess what? They have.
Yeah, I thought his velocity today was better than it has been. You know, he's building up that arm strength. I thought he looked pretty good today with his velocity.
Fastball's inside. He was tying up some hitters there. A little bit not having the control on the outside part of the plate, but that will come. Has a lot more days left here in spring training.
All right, so our new home plate umpire, Dan Iasonia, has got the gear on, and it is ready to go. He's just looking at a few warm-up tosses as Tom Hallion's afternoon is complete. There's Dan. They always have gear in the ready, Sarge.
Yeah, well, all the umpires have their own gear that they take from ballpark to ballpark.
Let's hope that Tom's okay. Who said Sean Fakasny, one of the Phillies athletic trainers, was walking with them, and there's so much discussion about concussions around baseball. I mean, Justin Morneau is a prime example of that. That he's probably going through some of the tests right now, the impact tests that everybody does, whether it be major league, high school, college.
Yep.
They all do them now. Here's Ty Wigginton to lead things off in the bottom of the 5th with the Phillies down 5-4. Wigginton 1 for 2 in this afternoon's game, and he hits the first pitch up the third base line. Burrows takes care of him. 1 away. So 1 pitch, 1 set aside. That'll bring John Mayberry to the plate. Manship is 27 years old. He's out of San Antonio, Texas. He was a 14th round selection back in 2006 by the Minnesota Twins. Mayberry an RBI double in the 3rd. And he takes strike 1. It's 0-1.
He's got a great opportunity to be able to play every day, get himself over 500 at bats. Consistency will do that. What also helps, though, he's able to play a multiple of positions. First base, all of the outfield positions. Fighting Fields, they're still looking for players to try and help the ball club. That's where your scouts come in at, making sure that whoever name comes up, Derek Lee's names come up, and then you find out that, you know, he doesn't hit the fastball the way that he normally hit it, and therefore, you know, he wouldn't be a guy that you would want to have on your team.
Well, Mayberry's down on strikes for the 2nd out here in the 5th. So 2 away. Dominic Brown is due up. Let's check in with Greg Murphy one more time. Greg?
All right, thank you very much, T-Mac. I'm here with Brandy Halliday because she's here to talk about a really special event that's happening here at the ballpark come Monday, helping out some of the folks here in Tampa Bay area.
Right, on Monday, March 19th, we're having our first food drive here in partnership with the Halliday Family Foundation and the Phillies. The hunger awareness issue here in Florida is a big interest of ours. 30% of the children in Florida go hungry every day here, have some sort of a hunger issue, and we want to help alleviate that, bring some awareness to it. doing a food drive here is a great way to start.
So you'll be outside the West Gate here at Bright House Field. Folks can bring canned goods or non-perishable items and donate them and get a chance to meet you and some of the other Phillies wives as well. And I know it's an issue close to your heart and to Roy's as well. You guys actually went and visited one of the food banks here down in this area, did you not?
Yeah, we did. We went to the main hub. It's about 50,000 square feet. They put out the equivalent of 1.5 million meals a month to families here in the greater Tampa area. So it's a very impressive facility. More impressive than that is that 1.5 million meals isn't enough. So there's a lot of work to do, but it's good work. We can get it done.
All right, that's a great attitude to have, and they're going to start getting it done on March 19th here at the ballpark, so the folks coming here to the game can be a part of it as well. An important cause here in the Tampa Bay, Clearwater area, guys, and doing good work are the Hallidays. Back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. You have Brandy and Roy and their two boys. They were all part of an initiative last year in Philadelphia, helping a great organization, Phil Abundance.
Yep.
With food drives during the course of the year, where fans were able to purchase a pin, fans feeding families pin that Roy endorsed, and this is sort of an extension of that. And again, it's this Monday here in Clearwater. Fans bringing non-perishable food items, and it'll be donated to Feeding America, the Tampa location.
And not only that, you get a chance for an autographed ball. I understand they're going to auction that off.
All fans bringing the non-perishable items will go into a pool and possibly could win a Roy Halladay autographed baseball. So there you go, folks. It all begins at 9 a.m. on Monday here at Bright House Field outside the West Gate. Each fan making a donation will be entered into a drawing to win a Roy Halladay autographed baseball. Tonight, get an in-depth preview of Temple's bracket challenges with our panel of experts. Don't miss March to the Net tonight at 6:30, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Temple Owls, who lost in the second round of the Atlantic 10 tournament, still got a very good seed. They've got a chance to do some damage. The NCAA tournament began last night with the first four in Dayton and will continue tomorrow. Different sites around the country. The NIT got underway last night back in Philadelphia. The NIT will be represented tonight with Drexel, LaSalle, and St. Joseph's. Michael Stutz is the new pitcher for the Phillies. He'll take over for Jonathan Papelbon. Stutz will pitch here in the top of the sixth in a 5-4 game so far this spring. 3 games for Stutz, 2 runs in 3 innings of work. Last year 6-2 with a 3.63 earned run average. That's the only change for the Phillies as we get set for the 6th inning. And we say that because a lot of times once the starter's out, fans will not get a glimpse at the starting catcher for much longer. But I think Carlos Ruiz wants to catch Jonathan Papelbon, wants to catch Michael Stutz, and that's why he's still in the ballgame for the Phillies.
Yeah, those are the guys that he knows he'll be catching during the course of the season.
There's Denard Span, who's 3 for 3, or excuse me, Lexi Casilla, who's 1 for 2. It'll be Casilla then Span. And it's 1 ball and no strikes.
A pleasant surprise last year when Stutz came in and did the job with some of the relievers getting hurt.
And I guess the question is, can he do it again?
It's always being able that next year, because what happens is that the hitters now, they get a chance to see you and know your velocity, know the movement, so they'll make some adjustments.
I think if he throws that pitch for a strike, or even close to the strike zone, he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, that's what you call tying a hitter up right now. I don't know exactly what that pitch was, whether or not it was a split or the bottom seemed to drop out of it. Ooh, breaking ball.
Strike three. Well, that's some nifty pitching right there from Michael Stutes for the first out here in the sixth.
Take a look at it. That ball slides right in on the outside part of the plate.
A little back door. Every time the Phillies retire, the opposing team 1-2-3. They haven't done it today. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by the Xfinity Triple Play, your complete lineup for digital TV, lightning fast internet, and home phone. Now here is Span, 3 for 3. Rollins waits on it, has to hurry, does. Good release.
Well, see, there's a shortstop knowing who the runner was. He knew he didn't have time to really get set the way he wanted to. He caught that ball and in one motion threw over to first base. Pretty good play. Always got to know who's running. It just helps you defensively. And there it is. To see how he gets it, and he just rears back and gets it right there. He's a pretty smart player in terms of defense at shortstop. Makes the routine play as well as anyone in the game.
Shioka so far today is 1 for 3. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Osvaldo Arcia is on deck for the Twins. The new right fielder. As Jeff Gray warms in the bullpen for Minnesota. Former Seattle Mariner pitcher. One and 2 the count.
Kid has a good fastball. Not afraid to come in, not afraid to throw it. Breaking ball will get better. It's already showed that it's been pretty good.
Ball 2 strikes the count. New baseball for Stutes. Now it's the mask of Carlos Ruiz that takes the foul ball. We've already seen Tom Hallion, the home plate umpire, exit the ball game after he got hit in the mask with a foul ball.
Now, his happened to be a fastball that was fouled off by Sean Burrows. Just going straight back, almost knocked that mask right off of his face.
Try to check on the breaking ball. 2-2 the count. Nishioka, like a lot of players from Japan, kind of jumps backwards when he swings. You know, there's a different style to the game over in Japan, and it's also a different style of hitting.
Well, they almost slap at that ball, if you will, although Ichiro does it as good as anyone, obviously.
Good inning for Michael Stutes. 1-2-3 go the Twins for the first time this afternoon. A strikeout and a couple of groundouts. 66 years the Phillies in the city of Clearwater. We go to the bottom of the sixth. Phillies baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. A sold-out crowd here at Bright House Field. 5-4, Twins on top. Roy Halladay went 2 2/3 for the Phillies and left the ball game. Wilkin Ramirez is the new left fielder for the Minnesota Twins. And the new center fielder is Darren Mastroianni. He'll take over for Denard Span. Rene Rivera takes over behind the plate for Minnesota. New third baseman for Minnesota. And the new pitcher is Jeff Gray. So Chang takes over at third. Gray is the new pitcher. First pitch to Carlos Ruiz from Jeff Gray is taken inside. 1 ball, no strikes. There's Brian Dozier, who's over at shortstop. So the left side of the infield has Ray Chang at third and Brian Dozier at shortstop. Carlos today is 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run scored. Probably his final at bat of the day.
Even if he gets on, you think maybe a pinch run for him. Then you're just easing him on into it. You know he's going to be doing a lot of catching during the season, and this is a good way not to wear him out playing early. Although you do want him to have a certain amount of at bats so that he feels comfortable enough at the plate.
Yeah, you can't rely on the DH either, because that's going to wind down very soon for the National League games. There are some teams around the league that have stopped using the DH already. Usually it's for the first 10 days to 2 weeks of spring training. 3-1 the count to Ruiz. Carlos has the count full, 3-2. That was a hot shot. Ooh. Into the Hooters diamond dugout. He got out of the way just in time and then found the ball.
Yeah, it's usually the one that gets out of the way and is able to go and look for the ball, the one that ends up getting it.
And ball 4. So Ruiz is aboard. A leadoff walk. And it'll bring Freddie Galvis to the plate. Charlie Manuel's looking around. He may have somebody pinch run here.
As long as you're trying to protect him, I mean, you might as well take him out now after 3 at bats. And
I think Charlie just said, hold on, hold on. And here comes Eric Kratz. So Kratz will pinch run. So 3 at bats for Ruiz. He was on base all 3 times.
Had a good game.
Sure did. Threw out a base runner too, trying to steal.
See, too, when you're not nicked up as much, your body's feeling pretty good, so you're able, to make sure that you get off good throws. And they're going to need Carlos, and not only defensively but offensively this year.
Chang is in at third, and Galvis shows bunt, pulls it back. Galvis today is 0 for 2. He has an RBI and a ground out. It was a productive out. Just to kind of reset things a little bit. Ray Chang's at third. Brian Dozier's at short. Pedro Florimon is at second. And Chris Parmelee is at first for the Twins. Ramirez is in left. Mastroianni is in center. And Arcia is in right for the Twins. There's always that moment in the middle of the game where teams make changes, where you're kind of scurrying around to take a look at some of the new players.
This is where the hitting coach is going to earn his money, teaching Galvis how to hit, because those high pitches going to have to lay off of, because he's just not strong enough. Can he do it? Absolutely. Defensively right now, he can play in the major leagues. He has a major league glove. But he just now needs to be able to get on top of it, swing at pitches that you can hit, preferably low.
There's a chopper to first. Parmalee has one at second. Will they turn two? Nope, not in time. Gray did a nice job getting over to the cover. But they get the lead runner at second. 3-6 on the putout. And a fielder's choice for Galvis. Well, a lot of that is up to Galvis then, to have the discipline to lay off those pitches.
Exactly, too. But and kids, they will learn. I mean, the experience will make you learn, but being able to have that glove there, they don't have to teach him about being a good defensive player. He has all those moves.
Jimmy Rollins is 0 for 2. There's Greg Gross. Greg has watched Galvis here in spring training for the last couple of years. To right center field, long run for Mastroianni. And he makes the catch for the second out. So Galvis goes back to first.
Pretty good wood, just a little bit too high. One thing, though, that J-Ro has been doing is getting better wood on the ball when he's swinging at it.
And he's moving well, too, and that's the key.
Came into camp in terrific shape.
Placido Polanco has 2 hits today. He's 2 for 3. The runner goes, and Galvis will have that bag swiped as Rene Rivera couldn't hold on to the throw, or couldn't hold on to the pitch. So the tying runs in scoring position here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
See if Polanco can come up with a 2-out clutch hit.
Up high, 2-0.
No, for a base runner, this is when automatically the ball hit. You should be able to score. Don't have to see whether or not the ball is going to be caught with 2 outs. Therefore, once it's hit, you just take off.
Towards center field, and Mastroianni is there. He misread it for a moment, but still is able to make the catch. Been there, Sarge?
Been there is right.
Been there, done that. Phillies lead 1. We've played 6. On to the 7th. It's a 5-4 ball game.
Here's a home run by Parmalee off Roy Oswalt. That was the second home run of the game, hit off Oswalt this afternoon. John Mayberry with a ball down the line. They were hitting a lot of balls down that line towards the third baseman Sean Burrows off Jason Marquis. And here comes another one. Placido Polanco right down the line for another RBI double. They had a chance to tie the game, but left the runner at third base with less than 2 outs. I meant Roy Halladay, of course, if I said Oswald.
I was going to say, where's Roy Oswald?
He's in Mississippi, isn't he? I knew as soon as I said it, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. Oswaldo Arcia is the hitter for the Twins, up for the first time. Phillies do have some changes that we'll get to in just a moment. Guys who have gotten their at-bats for the day. 4 at-bats this afternoon for a couple. On the outside corner, 1-1. Michael Stutz trying to get through 2 innings possibly here this afternoon.
Breaking ball's
really good.
Spring,
yeah,
it's
really good.
Got some bite to it. You know, he's got a pretty good fastball when he locates it, especially. The breaking ball was just kind of
What's going down to the ankles? It's one of those back leggers that we see often. Garcia come out to play right field for Josh Willingham.
Well, it has some depth to it.
Well, that one was outside. He snaps the throwback from Eric Kratz, but he had one on the outside corner in the last inning. He kind of backdoored it.
And his last outing was when we really noticed what good depth he had on his breaking ball.
2 balls, 2 strikes the count to Garcia. Fly ball left field. Juan Pierre is the new left fielder for the Phillies. He's under it, makes the catch. Pierre is the only new outfielder for the Phils. Victorino's still in center. Hunter Pence is still in right field.
And let's check out that game summary in a 5-4 game. A lot of offense, especially early in this one. Chris Parmelee with that 3-run home run off Roy Halladay. And Josh Willingham had a home run earlier in the ball game. Carlos Ruiz had a good game with a couple of hits and a walk.
Justin Morneau hits one back behind home plate. Kratz gives it a look. And it's out of play.
Carlos also nailed a runner at second base trying to steal.
He had a good day. He had a good day.
He also unfortunately got hit with about 4 foul tips right in the mask. To ask him about that tomorrow, how that mask held up.
Poor Tom Hallion.
Really? Yeah, sorry to see that. He was having a little problem with the heat, maybe.
0-1 the count to Morneau. He's 0 for 3. Another pop-up foul behind the plate. Kratz again gives it a look. Phillies infield has a little different look to it right now. Pete Orr's over at third. Freddie Galvis moves from second over to shortstop. There's Freddie. And there's a new second baseman for the Phillies. Looks like Kevin Franzen. Had to look for a second because he had his pants up. Socks are high.
Tom Hallion also got hit with a foul tip, didn't he? A foul ball. That may have been the problem for him.
There's Victorino, makes the catch. 2 outs. Said Eric Kratz came on the pinch run for Carlos Ruiz. And he stays in the ball game. So here's Chris Parmelee. He's been a big difference in today's game. A 3-run home run in the 3rd. And Michael Stutz has retired the 5 batters he's faced in this inning.
Throw the breaking ball the way that he's able to throw it. He can get some outs, a lot easier outs on fastballs. And there you establish a breaking ball early. Well, okay, he didn't get it over. When you throw that thing for a strike, the hitter's almost always going to take it.
There it is right there.
Yeah. That can go a lot of ways. You're ahead in the count 1 and 2. You can go that way again. You can do more things with your fastball. It'll really help him if he can command his breaking ball the way he is right now.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count to Parmelee. And another breaking pitch, cut on and missed. 2 scoreless innings for Michael Stutz. Rather impressive. He picked up 2 strikeouts along the way. 6 up, 6 down. Time to stretch here at Bright House Field with the Phillies down by 1. Monday, May 14th, the Phillies will take on the Houston Astros in the National League for the last time this year. It's the last time until they move to the American League. That'll be in 2013. It's 7:05 and then 1:05. The 1:05 game is a Citizens Bank Business Person Special. The 7:05 ball game is the Teva Respiratory Asthma Awareness Night at the ballpark. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Phillies down 5-4. They led it 2-1, and then the Twins scored 4 runs in the third. Phillies scored single runs in the bottom of the third and the bottom of the fourth. Sam Deduno is the new pitcher for the Twins. Last year in 40 games in the minor leagues, he made 12 starts. The rest were out of the pen. 4-8, 3.93 earned run average. And he will face Shane Victorino, who will get at least one more at bat here before he finishes up his day.
Yeah, a lot of the regulars now getting 3-4 at bats, especially in these home games.
Victorino takes a fastball for a strike. Shane today has a hit that was back in the first. He's reached on a fielder's choice and he has struck out. Ball way outside.
That'll make you anxious.
Sure would. Naduno did pitch in the big leagues in 2010 with the Rockies and last year with the San Diego Padres. He's now 28 years old from San Pedro de Macorís. Ball, 1 strike the count to Victorino. Outside, 2-1.
That town where Deduno comes from used to be a cradle of shortstops and infielders, and there's a guy right there from San Pedro de Macorís, Juan Samuel. A lot of guys came from there. Tony Fernandez.
Off Victorino's foot.
I think Julio Franco came from there.
Yep, he did.
There were a lot of guys there for a while were coming out of that area.
This kid throws hard. It's whether he can control it. Last year in the minor leagues, 105 innings. He walked 58. Previous year as a starter, he walked 72 in 133 innings. Now the 2-2 to Victorino. And a breaking ball called strike 3.
That's something, Tom, when a guy throws one up on the screen in your at bat and then he drops that on you.
Let's check it with Greg Murphy, who has an update on Roy Halladay. Murph?
Yeah, Tom, just got a chance to listen to Roy talk about his outing today with the reporters in the clubhouse. He said, you know what, his changeup still a little off right now, but he has all of spring training to get himself ready, and he says he plans on using all of it. He also said he hates innings like he had in the third inning, but they help build stamina, and they also kind of push you to work a little bit harder. That, guys, is Roy Halladay taking the good and the bad and trying to get better with each and every outing. He certainly did not look panicked with the way he pitched today. He said it's just progress. That's what we're working toward.
Yeah, I mean, he is pretty insightful when it comes to that stuff. I can see why he says he hates innings like that, but he puts a positive spin on it, saying, you know what, it builds stamina a little bit, gives me a chance to get my legs under me.
Absolutely, and he answered a lot of questions obviously in there. He said the 2 home runs, one came off of a changeup, one came off of a cutter that he said did cut, but it cut back over the middle of the plate, something that he's going to be working on as he goes forward here, guys.
All right, Murph, we appreciate that update. As Hunter Pence dives back to first, he just reached on a 1-out single.
I thought one of those home runs was on a changeup, and he just struggled a little bit with his command today. That's interesting to hear Roy Halladay talk about that just because he has a bad inning doesn't mean that he's not going to keep trying to throw those same pitches.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's his bread and butter. What's he throw? Would you figure 4 out pitches? His ball moves all over the place, so he's going to work. It's time to work on them.
Wigginton single back in the third. Grounded out in the second. Grounded out in the fifth. A slider for strike. 1 ball and 1 strike.
I think the home run that Parmalee hit was the one on the cutter that just kind of sat there in the middle of the plate.
You have the home run to Parmalee and the home run to Josh Willingham. That was back in the first.
Right. Got like a lot of hard-throwing right-handers. Looks like they throw sliders to right-handed batters and change-ups to left-handed hitters.
Over to third, that might be 2. Quick release from third. It's an around the horn 5-4-3 double play, and the Phillies rally is erased here in the 7th. 7 in the books here at Bright House Field. The Phillies down 5-4 as we go to the top half of the 8th. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast, the official HD triple play provider of the Phillies, and by the Quality Plus Ford stores. Top of the 8th inning, couple changes for the Phillies. New center fielder is Scott Posednik. He'll take over for Shane Victorino. And the new right fielder is Luis Montañez, who's having some pretty good spring for the Phillies. And Hector Luna takes over at first base. So Luna is over at first. And Jake Diekman, one of the guys, Wills, that you spotlighted at the beginning, who's had himself a good spring into this ball game. He'll pick up where Michael Stutz left. Michael Stutz went 2 innings and struck out 2.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch him pitch again today, Tom. You know, last time out he was very impressive.
Well, not that we planned this way, but it's nice also for the folks back home to get a chance to watch him, just because we've talked often about him. Other people have talked often about him. And the fact that he is able to pitch while we're televising from here at Bright House Field is also a positive thing.
I'd like to see him face some left-handed hitters.
He'll face Rene Rivera to start things off. Rivera up for the first time. He came on to replace Ryan Domet a couple innings ago behind the plate. First pitch is outside. It's 1-0. Diekman, if you don't know the story, 25 years old. He turned 25 this past January. He's out of Nebraska. And he'll give up a hit with his first batter. So a leadoff single for Rivera. Diekman last year pitched at Double-A. And here are the 3 guys we talked about at the beginning of the telecast. Freddie Galvis has started and played the whole game. And Scott Posednik, who's now in the ball game. That's what his numbers are coming into this one. And the same with Jake Diekman, 3rd game.
Yeah, 2 of them in the game right now. Or Galvis, he's still in the game too, so they're all in there. And those are their numbers at the start of this afternoon's game.
Ray Chang is the hitter, and he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Chang 1 for 6 so far this spring. Chang, 28 years old, and he grounds it foul, and it's no balls and 2 strike.
You know, Diekman could be being groomed as a situation guy against left-handed hitters. So, you know, it's good to see him against some right-handers too. he threw a pretty good fastball that on Rivera that he jammed him, blooped the hit in the outfield. Give hitter credit there. Let's see what kind of stuff he has to try and get a right-handed hitter out.
And he may have faced Chang last year. Chang spent some time in New Britain, the AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins. Also went to Rochester, their AAA affiliate. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count.
Pitches inside. That's one thing to notice.
Diekman's fastball will be in the 90s. And we talked about it the other day. He continues to work on his breaking pitch, which at times this spring has been pretty good.
Yeah, this would be a time, maybe try and backdoor a guy. Know that he has a changeup. Changeup to a right-handed hitter from a left-handed pitcher is always a good thing.
That's a fastball that was too low. 2-2.
Adrenaline rush on that one, it looked like.
Line drive, base hit to right center field. Montañez will try to cut it off, and he does. They'll hold Rivera at third. The throw to second, not in time. And Chang is in sliding. So the Twins have second and third with nobody out here in the top of the 8th.
Got a lot of the plate there with this fastball, looks like. See what Eric Kratz, he wanted it down, it was up. And those are hit me pitches, especially for right-handed hitters.
Good job by Montañez not allowing that ball to get to the wall, because a run would have scored if that happened. So a single and a double. The infield is in for Wilkin Ramirez, and he takes low. 1 ball, no strikes. Ramirez will be followed by Florimon, who's in the on-deck circle. They can play the infield halfway and still get the runner at the plate because it's Rene Rivera, the catcher.
Right, and you rarely go on contact with nobody out. So that it's another reason why you maybe cheat at 2 things. You said the runner, and you cheat a little bit more because the odds are they're not going to try and score him on contact with nobody out.
Pete Buchanan, Charlie Manuel. Good changeup right there. 1-2 the count.
No matter how hard you throw, you have to have some off-speed stuff that you can locate or at least show in this league.
That was a prime example because Ramirez was looking fastball.
Oh yeah, he's even with the count, even in the count, he's jumping at a fastball there.
Swing and a miss. He got him with a breaking pitch. First out of the inning.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right-handed hitters he's facing so far. Here it is. It's a slider. And that's they refer to that as a back foot breaking ball because a lot of times the hitter will swing over it, and if he hits it, he's going to hit foul.
Well, here's Pedro Florimon. Again, the infield will play halfway with 1 out, runners at second and third, a 1-run game. Ball popped in and out of the glove of Eric Kratz. Again, the thing about Diekman, his fastball, as we've said, is in the 90s, but there's so much movement on it too.
Well, that's part of being in when you drop down. Sometimes guys that drop down the way that he's doing a 3/4 will get more movement.
Ball gets away from Kratz. Here comes Rivera. He's going to wind up scoring. So it was a strike
Be a pass ball. I would think, or you know, he may. I don't know if he. No, he didn't get crossed up because he didn't go out to talk to him. He just doesn't catch it. It looks like breaking ball just goes right off the web.
So 6-4 Minnesota. Here comes Rivera scoring. So runner at third. 1 run in. The infield is now all the way in. Outside 2-2. During the year last year, Diekman had a streak of 11 2/3 scoreless as a relief pitcher, and he just picked up his second strikeout. And then back to the top of the order. Mastriani will hit for the first time. How about his numbers in the Arizona Fall League? 11 1/3, 14 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's a head turner. There's no doubt about it. And they just want to use him, develop him, and see what they can get.
Well, he's throwing all of his pitches. It's not fastball and slider here.
And all he's faced are right-handed hitters so far.
There's a breaking ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Kratz was able to get in front of that one. Said the other day, you know, there was a ball that hit in the dirt, hit off Kratz's chest protector and shot over, and a runner advanced. He said he was so mad at himself because he said that just shouldn't have happened.
Well, you know he's not happy with that pass ball in this inning because they wouldn't have a run.
Now 1-2. Got him. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Diekman. He does allow a run on the pass ball. He allows a couple of hits. He leaves one over at third. Not too shabby through all his pitches. All he faced were right-handers. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Phillies played some tight games over the last week or so. Yesterday went extra innings in Houston where they were taking on the Astros in Kissimmee. Jim Thome, who tomorrow will go back down to the minor leagues and play a little first base, signing some autographs. Casey Fine is the new pitcher for the Twins as we move to the bottom of the 8th inning. And I say the close games and extra inning games because this one is close as well. It's a 2-run ball game. Fine last year was 3-2 with a 4.44 earned run average and 3 saves. That's combined.
Take a look at Jake Diekman, who's 3 strikeouts in that inning. Run scoring on a pass ball. Playing good back or good front or back foot breaking ball right there. Then he throws a fastball. He really does have a good fastball. You can see how late those hitters were on those pitches away. And he also threw inside enough, I think, to open up the outside part of the plate to be effective.
Juan Pierre up for the first time so far this spring. Pierre, 263. The corners pinch in just a little bit. And the first pitch is over for a strike. F-I-E-N. It's actually pronounced Fien. Casey Fien, who is out of the Astros organization. Made it to the major leagues with the Tigers back in 2009 and 2010. One ball, 1 strike to count to Pierre. And it's 1-2. Mentioned earlier how Pierre and Jimmy Rollins were on the one of the backfields today. One was feeding the machine while the other was bunting. Had to go on for more than a half hour or so. Once one was done, then the other one took over.
What a day, huh?
To the right side. And Florimon will throw out Pierre. One away here in the 8th. And Dominic Brown will get a chance to hit for the 4th time today.
Designated hitter Dominic Brown.
Michael Cisco, I mentioned before that he was going to be with the club today, warming up at the pen to pitch the 9th inning. Dominic Brown singled back of the 2nd and scored a run. He's also popped out to the second baseman, grounded back to the pitcher. Folks were marveling at a couple of things Dominic has done the last couple of days, and that includes a triple and how well he was running the bases.
Well, he has tremendous power, this guy, and he can hit a ball. He will be able to hit the ball of the ballpark anywhere. Left center, center field, definitely on his pull side. He just needs to play.
He got that one inside, and he popped it foul just above our heads. It's 1-2. Phillies led it 2-1 after the 2nd, but then the Twins scored 4 runs in their half of the 3rd. Chris Parmelee hit a 3-run home run. Inside, 2-2. Early on, we saw Ryan Sandberg, who was here sitting next to Charlie Manuel for a lot of the games. Well, the minor leaguers have begun their games, so a lot of the coaches that were here, Sal Rendy was here, Rod Nichols was here. They're now back on the back fields, and the regular major league staff, along with Mike Schmidt, they're here watching the games. The third base dugout out of play. It's 2-2.
Yeah, Mike's staying a little bit longer this year. It's great to have him around. I'm sure the players have enjoyed associating with him.
Folks that come down here to Clearwater, they can not only watch the big league club, but yesterday the team was on the road. Jim Thome was playing in the minor league games back in the backfield, so they got a chance to watch that maybe.
Yeah, the guy with his Schmidt jersey. A lot of people still wear that number 20.
Swing and a miss, and Brown is down on strikes for the 2nd out. Our Toyota report: the longest tenured active managers in the majors. Ron Gardenhire is right behind Mike Scioscia, and then there's Charlie. There's a lot of wins there for those guys.
Got 2 of them here today. Mike Scioscia, number 1. Huh?
Mike Scioscia hired in 2000. Has over 1,000 wins. Eric Kratz takes ball one.
Well, that is a job not known for longevity. You give those guys a lot of credit, hung around that long.
How about Joe Madden over 500 as a manager for the Rays?
Yeah, and he just got a new contract.
One ball, one strike to count, Eric Kratz. Carlos Ruiz today started the ball game for the Phillies. He was on base all 3 times he was up. Kratz came on a pinch run for him in the 6th. In the bottom half of the 6th. 2-2 the count. He stays alive. Phillies come into this ball game 5-6-1 for the spring. That includes the loss yesterday to the Astros. The Twins, meanwhile, 6-6. Charlie Manuel not as concerned about the record as he is about how well his team's playing. Certain guys getting work. Over to shortstop. Easy hop. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Casey Fiend. So the Phillies go down in order here in the big field. We're getting set to go to the top of the 9th. Over on the backfields, well, the minor leaguers get a chance to get their work in. Upcoming schedule, upcoming television schedule. Tomorrow the Phillies will welcome in the Atlanta Braves. They're really struggling right now in Grapefruit League baseball. That's a 1 o'clock start on the Comcast network. Saturday, it's St. Patrick's Day. They bring in the Toronto Blue Jays. And then Monday, the Detroit Tigers are here. Then a few days off before the Phillies and the Yankees face each other on the 23rd of March. And then Sunday, March 25th, the Baltimore Orioles are back up from Sarasota. That game's on PHL 17. Phillies down by 2. We head to the top of the 9th inning. Roy Halladay went 2 2/3 this afternoon. We said there were a couple of minor leaguers that were on the roster that could possibly see some action today, and one of them is getting ready to throw in the ball game. It's Michael Cisco. Michael Galen Cisco, the grandson of former Phillies pitching coach Galen Cisco.
Pretty good bloodlines, and more Woody.
Last year in Double-A, out of the bullpen, 8-0 with a 1.59 earned run average.
Galen and his wife Martha in the area, Frank Kopenbarger, had dinner with him last night here in the Clearwater area and had a really good time. Galen's very proud of Michael.
5'10", 190 pounds from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, suburbs of Charleston.
Galen was a real good major league pitcher, and of course the Phillies major league pitching coach for a number of years. And for people that go way back and are big college football fans, he was a running back for Woody Hayes at Ohio State when Howard Hopalong Cassidy was there, and he used to block for him.
Well, his grandson did pretty well for himself too. Went to the University of South Carolina.
Yeah, that's a good program.
Brian Dozier's the batter, and the first pitch is over for strike. It's 0-1. These kind of appearances, particularly as the guy's getting older, like Michael Cisco, can go a long way. And what I mean by older is getting higher in the organization. Over to third, Pete Orr to his right.
Right fielder Oswaldo Arcia.
So Orr retires the first batter. Now Oswaldo Arcia up for the second time. Fly to left his last time up. Towering fly ball, shallow right field. Franzen will give way to Montanez. 2 outs. So Michael Cisco spent all of last year in Reading. Just 2 quick outs. That probably felt good too for Cisco, is that he was able to spend an entire year at one level. Not that you don't want to go forward, but in his first 3 years with the Phillies, he didn't stay in one place for the entire year. Now he's facing a big leaguer in Justin Morneau. Morneau breaks his bat. The head of the bat goes up the first base line. The ball will be caught by the first baseman Hector Luna. So Michael Cisco, in his first appearance this spring, doesn't throw a whole lot of pitches. 1, 2, 3 go the Twins, and he even gets the former MVP Justin Morneau for the final out here in the ninth. See, the line score 6 runs, 12 hits, no errors for the Twins. Phillies 4 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. And the Phillies had the lead at one point in this ball game, but the Twins, so they've led since the third. Wheels.
Well, the third inning, the 4-run third inning off Roy Halladay, and the big hit was a 3-run home run by Chris Parmalee. That's the one I think Roy Halladay may have been talking about. He had a cutter that didn't do a whole lot there, and it turns out to be our W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
Well, Lester Oliveros is the new pitcher for the Twins. Last year he pitched in the majors for the Tigers and Minnesota. 19 games in the big leagues, a 4.64 earned run average. He's a guy who's closed before in the minor leagues, 14 saves in 2010. Last year he had 5 saves at AAA before he went up to the Tigers. And he's on to face Freddie Galvis. He started off Kevin Franzen and Scott Posednik. Phillies lost yesterday in 10 innings to the Astros. Now they're trying to force this game into extra innings unless they can win it here in the bottom of the ninth, down by 2.
Yeah, they scored 2 in the 10th yesterday and gave up a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 10th.
To Brian Bixler of all people.
Brian Bixler.
Alvey shows bunt, takes a strike.
You have to ask Larry Anderson if it was windblown. But that would be tough to ask right now.
Larry was here earlier today.
He was?
Yeah. 0-2 the count. His son Chase was in town. Chase,
oh, that's nice.
About to graduate from high school and head on to college.
Larry's great at entertaining. He's like you.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. Up high, 1-2.
You guys run hotels down here. You do a wonderful job, too.
Just trying to spread the love.
Oh, you do a great job, too. Both of you.
There's Dominic Brown, who had 4 at-bats today. Included in that a single and a run scored. Alvis lifts it to center field. Mastriani is there for the first out. 1 out here in the ninth. Now Kevin Franzen hit for the first time. There's Scott Pasetnik waiting on deck. Charlie Manuel talking a little baseball with Dominic Brown. Charlie was pretty honest yesterday, where he was talking about Dominic's offense, saying, you know, he's hitting the ball very well, and he is. And he said, well, his defense, he said, well, he knows what he has to do. He doesn't need me bringing it up.
Charlie will definitely help people that are struggling. You know, he knows when to jump you, too, when you have to be. When you have to be disciplined. But he is very, very good at helping people to try and get better in this business.
When I say that Charlie didn't need to say anything, it's when he's posed the question about Dominic's defense. He says, well, I don't really have to, you know, discuss it. I mean, he discusses it with Dominic, but he doesn't have to discuss it with everybody else, because Dominic knows that he's got work to do.
Yeah, and anybody who watched the game knew he misjudged the ball yesterday. What are you going to say? Beat him up about it?
2-2 the count.
You know, everybody knows he misjudged it, and they're trying to get him better out there. But see, he'll make him laugh. If you worry too much in this game and you let it get between your ears, forget about it. It's over.
Well, the good thing about Dominic Brown, too, is that he'll work. I'm not sure what Charlie's having to work on right there.
Who knows what he's doing right
Almost looked like he was having to work on his hula dancing or something.
That's part of his magic, I think. And you know, Tom, from being around him so much, is he can talk to people and just make them feel good about something.
On their terms.
Right. Well, shoot, see, get it right back. He loves to talk about that stuff.
A foul ball by Franzen.
What Charlie really likes from a player is that they care, and if they want to get better, and if they ask questions, and they're coachable. What drives him crazy is somebody that thinks they know everything, and they're struggling.
Swing and a miss. Franzen retired on this throw to first, so 2 outs now in the ninth inning.
Third baseman, Pete Orr.
And that'll leave it for Pete Orr. Pasetnik was just swinging in the on-deck circle, just get himself ready. So it's Orr who's up now with 2 outs. Orr shows bunt, takes it way outside, 1-0. Pete's got a chance to swing the bat during the spring. .200 average with 1 run batted in. Tomorrow the Phillies will be back in action. They'll face the Atlanta Braves. Surprising how much they're struggling right out of the chute, isn't it?
Yeah, they're not. What are they? 1-10.
Yeah.
And that could happen in spring training. You can be 10-1 too, and not be a very good team.
It is more concerning when you're 1-10. Though.
Oh yeah, well, always.
Moore hits that one hard. The plate, and Scott Posednik as Orr pulls into second with a 2-out double.
You know, the Braves especially going 1-10 after the way they finished their season. Even though these games mean nothing and they're not played the same way, but when you collapse the way they did in September and then go 1-10 right out of the chute in spring training, you know, it's like, all right, what's going on?
There's some questions that start to arise. Yeah, it's only natural.
Absolutely. Even if you just play 500, that puts some of that to sleep.
I mentioned before that Posednik this spring 320, and he can still run. Even though he's in his 30s now, he can still run pretty well. So he's trying to piecemeal these 2 runs. Posednik will not. He won't necessarily hit the ball out of the park. He's more of a gap guy.
And they're really playing both these guys, Orr and Posednik, as opposite field hitters. Big gap in right center. That's why he just got a double.
Well, they hadn't played well. Mastriani goes back a few steps, makes the catch, and the ball game is over. So the Phillies have lost back-to-back ball games. They lose today by a final score of 6-4 as the Twins are able to get the final 3 outs needed to finish off this ball game. Chris Parmelee had a heck of a day offensively. Played the whole way, went wire to wire, and Parmelee finished with 2 hits. He walked once. He also had a 3-run home run, and that was the backbreaker for Charlie Manuel and the Phils this afternoon. 6-4 the final score. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.